All right, everyone. It's Dr. Josi here with the Brilliant Wonders podcast, and it's been a little bit. There's been a lot of things transitioning in my life, and as that has happened, I've had to push pause a little bit. Or it's more like, and this is where this conversation is going to go, is when I think of podcasting or even my newsletters and things of that nature, it's really creative space for me. I love creating that stuff. But when your nervous system is in a sense of chaos, I'll say, which is what I work on, right? This is what we try to help people with and in life, right? However, it is life, and these things do happen, and transitions are made, and all these things. So I was on pause for a couple of weeks. And I think a couple of weeks before that, I was on pause because things kind of kept shifting and changing. And I was able to say in my team meeting today, I am in flow. So bring on whatever you have next for me, I can take now. That's where I was at. And it was so lovely to be able to say it. And I think it's really important that we talk about this because life is not just always perfect. There might be events that come up or weekend shenanigans or a vacation or a, job shift or a new baby. Like there's change happening all the time, and being able to accept and be graceful during the times of chaos to support your nervous system with everything you've got, what you can do so that it can all fall into place in a shorter amount of time. And this is something that I've practiced because I've read a lot of books. I have studied a lot of things about this flow and about manifestation and about gratitude and finding life, my life, your life, whatever, our lives, enjoying every moment of it, even in the midst of struggle, even in the midst of suffering, in the midst of chaos, in the midst of joys, all of the things, just being present for it. And when I am present for it, but also looking at, so I'm present, but I'm embodying the way I want to feel through these transitions or through even the periods of grace and flow and love and enjoyment. If I'm present for it and embodying the way that I want to feel every day, the how it all happens just happens. I'm not necessarily planning the hows. I am more planning the perspective and the future self of me, bringing that to the present moment and then living that way and letting it all unfold. That includes getting, someone calls. If you're a person of influence of any sort or impact, people are calling you and telling you what's going on in their lives. Maybe a problem, maybe a pivot or a, hey, can you help me out with this? Or what do you think about this? All those kinds of things. But if even in the midst of chaos where I necessarily might not have time or peace or feeling super peaceful, right? To be able to have that conversation. If I've embodied that love, that security, that, trust, then I can have the conversation in a loving way. One thing that came up, and you guys know this about me if you've been following me for very long, I end up living in many different places, okay? And not all of it is just by choice per se. I've moved places out of convenience. I've moved, I'm a bit of I jump around quite a bit right at the moment. And it's because that's where I am in my life and kind of where I want to be. However, I have a home base, but I got a phone call that said, hey, someone might want to buy the house you're in the next couple of months. What do you feel about that? And if I was in complete chaos and letting my nervous system run free and rampant and fight or flight the whole time, I could say, hello, my life is crazy right now. This is not going to fit. but didn't allow myself to go there, even through this change and transition that I am in right now. I didn't let my nervous system go there, but I've been supporting it in the ways that I know how. Like I am I'm really locked in on what it takes for my nervous system to stay healthy through chaos, which took practice. But I was able to like hear that saying, you might need to move in 2 months. Good luck, like find a place and do the things. And I just said, you know what? Okay, like whatever you guys feel like you need to do, like let's do it. And I've done this before and it'll all work out. However it needs to work out, it'll all work out. So I didn't go into fight or flight during that conversation, but I easily could have. And I'm not doing that to give myself a pat on the back. Granted, in my life, like when that happened, I was like, good job, Josi. Like that is exactly how I hoped that conversation would go. There's no regret in what I said. There's no, like stepping backwards and like trying to come back from something that I like maybe overreacted to or whatever. Like I felt really good with it. And it takes a lot of practice and an intention. And so I celebrate a lot. And a lot of people might not agree with me on that. But you know what? We have this thing in our brain called the reticular activating system. And I talk about the reticular activating system in a lot of different ways, but I don't necessarily use the terms. But we do say it a lot in our coaching program. And the reticular activating system is part of our brain that takes in information. We get billions of bits of information happening all of the time. The colors, the depths, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we see, like everything that our brain is taking in every second. It's like a lot and it's too much. So if we were to take in all that information, we would go offline. Our brain would be like, nope, overwhelmed, it's way too much. So we have this filtering system called the reticular activating system. And what that does is what we, luckily, us humans, we get to choose what comes into our brain. We get to choose what we focus on. We get to choose what is filtered out and what is allowed in. We choose that. So that means we have control over what comes in, what bits of information, and we filter a lot of it out, a lot. We get to choose what comes into our space, into our brain, what takes up space. We get to choose that. And since I choose to celebrate often, every time I celebrate, whether it's a pat on the back or a dance through my living room or singing in the shower or whatever, like anything that I do eating a good meal, you guys, like I'm like, gosh, that felt good, right? Like exciting, like let's go. Like I'm excited about it. And yes, that might annoy some people and I just don't care anymore because all I want to come into my system are positive things right now. That's all that's welcome here. Because I've got my own stuff going on in my own life that I'm wanting to live, and I can't let that negative stuff come in. So I don't. I choose for it not to be there. And including that conversation of, hey, you might need to find a new place to live in the next couple of months. Okay, we will figure it out. And you know what? I've done this before. I can do it again, right? So what is it in your life that you can feel that way with, right? That you can maybe think, hey, there's a lot of chaos going on right now. What are the things I can do to support the chaos, to step back and allow things to happen in a positive light, in a positive perspective? And then, you guys, a lot of times things, if I force these things to like lay all down and go into order and boom, 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 like this is how I want it to be. If I force all that to happen, usually it takes a lot longer and I do not feel good in the midst of it. If I do what I just did and am talking to you about in this podcast and brilliantly put together my life, right? It falls into place the way that it needs to. And usually see that it happens quicker than I expected. Or at least I didn't notice. I don't notice the time just like going by of feeling stressed the whole time. Last week, I had a couple of people mention that, hey, you look like a little tired. And I'm like, you know what? It has. It's been a little chaos lately, and I'm feeling it. So, I took that and took how I felt and just really focused in again, just on the things that I could control. I moved my body in a way that was supportive. Okay, I slept. I took naps. I decided to, go to bed at a decent time, wake up at a decent time, continue with my devotions, look at my gratitude, write a gratitude list, be thankful for everything that was coming in and proving to me that I was on the right path, right? I was working on that reticular activating system. And I've been doing that for a couple of weeks, but it is something that when we go through a stressful time, and this was probably almost a month of it being kind of funky or just different, different lives, different schedules and things like that. As you're doing that and focusing on the good, your energy stays up longer. I'm kind of staring off in the distance because I'm just like trying to really embody what I'm saying here. Your energy can be maintained longer. Chaos forever is tough. It is tough, and I'm not saying it can't be done. Everyone's got different resilience going on in their world based on life experience for sure. But chaos for a long period of time and not supporting your nervous system through it, eventually we see breakdown of the body. And that's what I'm honestly taking care of a lot of the time right now is we're working with the Better Brain company, the Better Brain protocol, where we're working on memory, anxiety, depression, insomnia, dementia, these sorts of things that we see happen from chronic stress. So what we are realizing and what we are teaching is that it's the perception of stress that's getting us. It's not necessarily always the stress itself. It's our perception of it. So this was a great, I told a lot of people that I was coaching, I said, I'm right there with you on a lot of stuff right now. I said, I'm happy to be here. This is so wonderful. It's been a different kind of deal when it comes to my schedule and how this has all changed, and it's just for 3 months. And I said, I can do anything for 3 months. I can do it for 3 months. But you know what? It didn't take me 3 months to get into flow again. It took me 4 weeks. And maybe next time it'll take me 2. And the time after that, maybe it'll take me 1. And then I'll have another time that's super crazy and nuts, and I'm like up leveling in one way, shape, or form, training for a marathon or hiking Mount Everest or, building a huge business, whatever it is. These times that I get to practice this resilience and perception of stress is going to set me forward in being able to handle the next thing, including not letting myself and my brain and my perception go into this rabbit hole of you are stressed. I didn't say that I was stressed ever in the last 4 weeks. I did say I was tired because I was. It was real. I needed a nap. I was tired. I was emotionally tired, and I wasn't stressed. I wasn't going to tell myself that. That is an old way of thinking about things for me. Like, work is not stressful. Work can be tiring, and it can be emotional, which all that means is you just need to take care of your nervous system and support yourself during these times. It does not mean that we need to have this old pathway in our brain saying that work is stressful or whatever is going on in my life is stressful. Can it be different words? Like, use a different word. If stress is something that's like, gosh, when people say I'm busy, a lot of times, I say I'm busy. Well, that's good, right? I'm like, yeah, of course I'm like busy, right? I'm like, our vocabulary means so much, right? And my word of what I would say is busy is not necessarily what someone else would think is busy. It's not a negative thing. For me, busy, I have to use the word full pretty often. My schedule is so full because, gosh, doesn't that feel good versus my schedule is busy? So just using your words differently can help. So I know I went on a little bit off track. Like I'm just talking to you like I'm your sitting at coffee with you and having a conversation. But I do want to jump into, now that we've talked about the reticular activating system, what you focus on, allowing the chaos to reorder how it needs to be by supporting your nervous system. I know that seems completely backwards, not trying to throw everything into categories and organize your life out of pure force. Stepping back, regulating your nervous system, and just letting it all kind of fall into place. It will happen faster than you think, most likely, and it'll feel a heck of a lot better in the midst of the chaos. So allowing that to happen. And then I want to talk about 3 ways that I've really focused in on my nervous system during this time. And a lot of us want to step away from our routines and the things that make us feel good because we no longer have time. And that is not necessarily the case. I think we often have a poor perception on how much time it takes, for one. So let's dive into that right away. Number 1 is being really intentional about living in general. And that means that the things that you're going through in this stressful time, you slow down and you intentionally do the things. During busy times, do you still pour a cup of coffee? I do. So I slowly and intentionally watch myself pour a cup of coffee. I intentionally make my lunch, whether it's tuna and olives in a bowl that's not cooked, right? Just like throw it together, or a salad or whatever. Or if I'm cracking my egg and making eggs or having a shake, you slowly and intentionally make it and just slow down your movements. When you slow down your movements, you slow down your brain. I move all day long. So that is an opportunity to slow your brain down just by living your life. Okay, so intentionally living, which means intentionally moving. When I have, 20 calls in a day, I'm intentionally with every person. I'm not looking to the future to see, I've got 12 calls left or whatever. I'm just looking at, okay, for these next 20 minutes, I am right here with my person doing my thing. And then whatever comes of that, then the next time I push, start my meeting, it's somebody else and I'm right there with them. I'm not thinking about what else I could be doing with my time. I'm not thinking about multitasking and what else I can after this meeting, I'll run and do the laundry and then I'll run and gas up my car and then I'll do whatever. Like I'm not thinking of that. I am intentionally right with the person at the moment. When I'm done, either I've made a list earlier in the day of the 5 or 10 minute things that I could do during my breaks or whatever. But most of the time, honestly, you guys, I feel so much better if I'm just in it with the people that are right in front of me, which is intentionally living, not feeling like I need to fill everything up and be like this superhuman during a stressful time. And look, she never faltered. Yeah, no, I've got some stuff going on that's probably, I will get to later. But right now, I'm intentionally living my life in health. I'm supporting my mind, and I'm intentionally living with the humans that are right in front of me and being present with them. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, sleep, you guys. Sleep. Looking at, hey, I'm going to go to sleep at 10. I'm going to wake up at 6. Sleep at 10, wake up at 6. I don't necessarily try to veer off from my sleep schedule at all when I'm in a transition time or a change period, or knowing that life's going to be a little bit chaotic. I really do try to focus in on my sleep because I know that time is worth so much, getting good sleep and helping my brain, because your brain detoxifies and processes when you sleep. I don't know if you knew that, but when you sleep, when you sleep well, your brain actually eliminates toxins and cleans itself while you sleep. and you actually process information of the day while you sleep, as long as you get good sleep. If you don't, then it's not efficient. First off, we didn't clean up the waste from the day before. Secondly, you maybe learned a lot of things that day before, but you didn't process them in your sleep. So it's not like we've rerouted or, like learning life experiences while you sleep. So I like efficiency there, and sleep is one of the best ways to restore my body. So it's important that I get my good sleep. And if I do need a nap, and this is not what I would recommend very often, because if you take too big of naps, or if you're sleeping because because you're in freeze mode of your nervous system, then that's not healthy. But sometimes, like when someone told me, Josie, you just look really tired. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm just really, really do need a nap. And I did. And I took one and it felt great. But I didn't set an alarm. I was like, I have, some time. I'm going to take this nap. Granted, I could have went and visited my family, during that time, or I could have went grocery shopping. I could have, I could have fit all sorts of things in there, but I valued my repair and restoration more than anything else during this chaotic time. So that's called boundaries, understanding your own boundaries and your own limitations, and just being truthful about them. Okay, so number 1 was intentional living. Number 2 was sleeping. And then number 3 is gratitude. And I already touched on this, but really embodying the result and being grateful for the result of what you're foreshadowing, expecting to feel, not like the result as in like a dollar amount or like like a scalable number. I'm talking about weight loss here for a lot of people. I'm not talking about like this hard quantifiable result. I'm talking about a feeling. When I complete this process, how am I going to feel? What do I want to experience and feel through this time period? And so I embody that. I'm like, okay, this is like, I'm working through this chaos. I'm working through all of these things. I'm living these days, and I chose these days because this is what this is the way I want to feel at the end, or in the midst, or whatever. So that's what you bring to present moment, and you write it down. I am grateful for all the opportunities that come before me. I am grateful for feeling confident and empowered. I am grateful for helping others with their brain health. I am grateful for da 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 da. So I practice that like every day, you guys. And I oftentimes, I can write it down, and I do that morning thing. We've talked about morning routines multiple times. Gratitude is a piece of that. But sometimes I just need to have like things just repeated in my ears over and over. I feed my brain with good stuff during stressful times, which it's really easy to want to just like peace out from the world and go into something else. For me to stay focused, I find voices that I really like. So there's some people that I follow on YouTube and stuff that I like to hear their voices. I've got this one gal, and she's got to be from Australia, that I listen to some of her meditations. I'll listen to my own voice. I have recorded a lot of meditations and stuff, and I listen to my own voice saying, everything's good. You're in the game. You're doing great. I love you. I forgive you. All of these affirmations that I have in my own voice that I tend to gravitate towards during times that maybe are a little bit more trying. The other thing is that I ran across this on, I don't know, probably Instagram or something, but I instantly wanted to memorize it. So it's a song, and it's, I am happy, I am healthy, I am divine. Everything comes to me in the perfect time. I am hot, I am rich, girl, I'm so fine. The universe and me are aligned. Okay, so I don't know. It was catchy. It worked for me. It was a lot of things that I want to embody. So I will say I'll go for my walks, or, be moving around the house. And I'll just say that I am happy, I am healthy, I am, and it like has a beat to it. So I just instantly get into it. So you got to find what works for you. But what does keep you in a vibration that's high? The lower vibrations, gosh, they're awesome in the fact that they tell you that there's something going on and you are moving away from God or your source or divine or whatever. Those lower vibrations mean that we are moving away from hearing the truth. Okay. So I trying to change that vibe as much as possible, bring it up. Tired is one thing. That's a little bit different. Overwhelmed though is on the other side. That's a negative vibration. Okay. So we want to stay over in these high vibrations. And we do that by feeding our brain, feeding our body, feeding our senses with high vibrating things and not letting us drift. Napoleon Hill talks about drifting in his books, and you're drifting away. You're drifting away from what is truthful and good. You drift away from it through stress, okay? But we know that stress is our perception. It's not necessarily its own thing, okay? So our perception of what's going on in our life is what creates our quote unquote stress. Okay, so we have that choice. That's the reticular activating system, which we've already talked about. That is our choice to let it become either stress or one step in front of the other. We're just doing the thing. Chaos is in front of us. Okay, no big deal, but we are going to just keep on keeping on in this highest vibe as possible to let things unfold and settle into where it needs to be again. It's just life. And that's what brain-based living, that's what that means to me, is how to feel life, how to experience life, not let life just run you over, okay? Experience life, feel life in all of its values, and trying to be present and here for it, okay? All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I am Dr. Josi. If you like things like this, where we talk real life, how to feel life, experience life, enjoy the life, maybe take some bold moves, not be scared, this is your podcast. This is one you should subscribe to and listen. Thanks for being here today. We'll see you next time.